So watch me do a full face makeup tutorial on my gorgeous model. So grab a seat, relax and enjoy this video. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I'm going to be cleaning up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead to hydrate her skin with my green tea Kiss beauty spray. After that, I'm going to be drying it out before moving on to moisturizer. For moisturizer, I'm going to be using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize the face. So it's always important you moisturize the face whether you have oily or dry skin. After moisturizing, I'm going to let it absorb into the skin before moving on to primer. For primer, I'm going to be using my Kiss beauty primer. This would help to give the makeup a very good base to sit on. So it's very important you apply your primer whether you have oily or dry skin. And if you have oily skin, you need a mattifying primer that would help to reduce the oil on the face. Then if you have a dry skin, you need a hydrating primer. So after that, I'm going to allow it to dry before foundation. So moving on to foundation, I'm going to be using this Gentle Doe foundation in the shade 504. I know this foundation is a little lighter than that skin, but you have nothing to worry about. So I'm going to make it work. Just keep on watching. So for easy blending, I'm going to be spraying the face before blending in the foundation into the skin. After that, I used my damp beauty sponge to blend the foundation into the skin. So after blending in the foundation, next thing I'm going to be locking it up. This would help the foundation to stay intact. Then after that, I used my fan to dry it up immediately. Moving on to contour, I'm going to be using this Zaron foundation in the shade 020 to contour our face. So to contour the face, you need a shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. So contour helps to add dimension to the face, and you start by applying it under your cheekbone to carve out the appearance on the sides of the nose in order to create a slimmer profile. And it can also be applied on the forehead to make it look smaller, and also on the jawline to define its shape. So after contouring the face, next I'm going to be applying cream blush. So I'm just going to mix these 2 shades from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead to blend using my beauty sponge. So after blending, moving on to highlight, I'm going to be using this nubanbeauty concealer in the shade 042 to highlight her face. So to highlight the face, you need a shade that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than the skin to highlight the face. After that, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So after highlighting the face, next I'm going to be contouring her nose with the same shade I used to contour the face to contour the nose. After applying it, I'm going to be blending it immediately to avoid any harsh lines. So after blending it, next is to set the concealer on the highlighted area. So I'm going to be using my Merak Cosmetics setting powder in the shades Ginger to set. But before setting, I went back using my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath the eyes to avoid creasing. After that, I'm going to be setting with my beauty sponge. So while setting, do not pack too much setting powder. Take it one step at a time. Make sure you set properly so that it doesn't crease. So I'm just setting only on the highlighted area. So after setting the concealer, next is to set the rest of the face. I'm going to be using this Milani compact powder in the shade light to set the rest of the face. So if you want to set the rest of the face, make sure you use the exact shade of her skin powder to set the rest of the face. Do not use a shade lighter or darker. So after setting the rest of the face, next is low light contouring, which is dry contouring. I'm going to be using this shade from my Royal Makeup Powder palette to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So next I'm going to be using this light shade from the same powder palette and apply it on the areas I highlighted to give it more coverage. So to contour the nose, I'm going to be using the same shade I used in contouring the face to contour the nose. So next I'm going to be setting the face. This would help to reduce the powder effect and also help the products to absorb well into the skin. After that, I dried it up immediately before moving on to baking. For baking, I'm going to be using the same setting powder I used in setting the face to bake the face. So after that, moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead using my brow tan to lay the brows nicely. So next is to outline her brows. I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner and my angled brush to outline her brows following the shape of her brows. So after outlining the brows, next is to highlight the brows. I'm going to be using this Flawless Ivy concealer in the shade 407 to highlight her brows. So after highlighting the brows, next I'm going to be blending the concealer immediately so that it doesn't get dry and look tacky. So if you look on the right side of her eyes, you notice that she was tearing, but I decided not to bother myself because she wasn't going anywhere with the makeup. I'm going to fix it. So after highlighting the concealer, I'm going to be setting it with this powder shade from the same powder palette I used on her face. So after setting the concealer, moving on to eyeshadow. Before eyeshadow, you want to prime the lid. I'm using my Viange eyeshadow base to prime the lid. You can also make use of a concealer to prime your lid. So if you go ahead applying eyeshadow without priming your lid, the eyeshadow won't really pop and it will not last for you. So it's best you apply an eyeshadow base before applying eyeshadow. After that, I added some setting powder on the outer corner of her lid, then on the areas underneath the brows to avoid fallout from the eyes. Then next, I'm going to be using this shade from this eyeshadow palette and apply it on the outer corner, then blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. Then after that, I'm going to be doing the other side following the same method. So to blend out the eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this powder shade from the same powder palette to blend out the eyeshadow so there won't be any form of demarcation. So I went back applying more setting powder on the outer corner of her lid. Then after that, I used that brush I used in applying the eyeshadow base. I went back using the brush to blend the inner corner of her lid before applying the next eyeshadow. So after that, I'm going to be applying this shade from my Cali Chic eyeshadow palette and apply it on the inner corner of her lid. Then after that, I went back with the eyeshadow blending brush I used in applying the first eyeshadow. I went back using the brush to blend. So next, I'm going to be using this Turkey eyeshadow palette. I'm just going to take this brown shade, this dark brown shade, and apply it on the outer corner, then blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. Yeah, I'm about to fade away, 'cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. So next, I'm going to be blending the eyeshadow with this eyeshadow blending brush so there won't be any demarcation. Then I went back with this shade from my powder palette. I went back using it to blend out the eyeshadow. So after that, I went back applying this eyeshadow again because I really want it to pop. So after that, I'm going to be blending it again with my eyeshadow blending brush. So I went back applying more setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to further define the lid. After that, I went back to blend the eyeshadow because I want everything to be well blended. So next is to line her upper lash line. I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner and my angled brush to line her upper lash line. After lining her upper lash line, I'm going to be lining her lower lash line as well. Then next, I'm going to be prepping her natural lashes with my Zaron mascara in order to give it volume. After that, I went ahead to wear her lashes from Chic lashes. So after that, moving on to powder blush, I'm going to be taking this pink shade here from my Tara blush palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. After that, I'm going to be using my contour brush to blend the areas I contoured. So after that, I'm going to be using my brush to blend the areas I highlighted, just to dust off the excess setting powder underneath her eyes. Then I went back contouring the nose again. So after that, I'm going to be using this dark brown shade from the same eyeshadow I used. I'm just going to apply it underneath her waterline. So next, I added a little powder on the outer corner of her lid because I really want that place to be well defined. Then after that, I'm going to be applying mascara on her lower lashes. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using my concealer as her lipstick. So I'm going to be taking this brown shade here to outline her lip. So after that, I'm going to be blending it with my brush. So next, I'm going to be applying this shade in the middle just to brighten up the lip. Then I went ahead to blend it. So after that, I'm going to be adding some lip gloss on her lip. So I went back applying more blush on her cheekbone. Then after that, I used my powder brush to blend everything together. After blending everything together, I'm going to be setting it with my Cali beauty spray. After setting it, I'm going to let it dry properly into the skin. So next, I'm going to be using this nubanbeauty highlighter and apply it on the places I want the highlight to pop. After that, I'm going to be applying this essential Always Glow on her face. This would help the face to glow. So I'll apply it more on her forehead. So next, I'm going to be setting the face for the last time with my Cali beauty spray. So while setting the face, make sure you cover the eyeshadow so the spray doesn't ruin it, and next you allow it to dry. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.